Hey, what's up, guys? Don't go anywhere. In just a couple of seconds, I want to introduce you to Sammy Perez, who is our Justice Ambassador, grassroots specialist for Prison Fellowship. He does an awesome job, and if the concept of prison reform is a foreign language to you, or the idea of justice that restores, I hope you enjoy this interview. It is in front of the Lincoln Memorial. It was a random interview. Please excuse the volume. I had the settings wrong, but nonetheless, the content is right. I hope you enjoy. God bless you. Hey, I'm here with in front of an awesome scenery. We have the Abraham Lincoln Memorial behind us. Just a beautiful scenery. But I'm also here with one of our grassroots specialists, Sammy Perez, and I just wanted to ask you, because you deal with prison reform. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. Work full-time with Prison Fellowship, and actually have the opportunity to lead up our grassroots department, where we basically just work to mobilize Christians around the nation to help advance criminal justice reform. We have the opportunity to work with justice ambassadors, one of which is Ricky, who really, just work to raise their voice about important issues like bail reform, sentencing, things like that, just really looking to create a more restorative criminal justice system.
And I was in a class this weekend, and I was hearing everybody's stories and just things like that. And I believe wholeheartedly in Isaiah 1:17, where it says correct oppression, and there's a lot to go with that. And so I think about your position, and this part of Prison Fellowship helps deal with changing the culture and helps deal with changing the minds of lawmakers. It's one thing to hit the gravel and make a decision for someone else's life, but it's another thing to do that with the mindset of knowing that you're still dealing with human beings that still have a life to live after prison. So why would you say prison reform is so important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously, to me as a Christian, I feel compelled by my faith to really just to raise my voice for men and women who are behind bars, but also more personally, I've experienced incarceration and know what it feels like to be on the other side of injustice. And now that I have been released and been able to be successful, and really to take advantage of my second chance, it's just a way for me to give back and to be able to pave the way for men and women who are coming home, and to just lift up my voice and my story, and to be able to just help advance criminal justice reform, and just really love the men and women who are behind bars and offer hope for them. So yeah.
I think one of the pluses about our country is I don't think we live in a country that is without faith. 1776, we penned the great phrase, the laws of nature and of nature's God. And I think, like Abraham Lincoln, our founding fathers of this country, really had this faith of God in mind. And so I think you're positioned in the perfect place, Washington, D.C., to help make justice reform possible. But now, not only does Prison Fellowship offer that here in Washington, D.C., but there's a mobilizing team across the United States that does this. And founder Chuck Colson. Tell me a little bit about Chuck Colson.
Yeah. So Chuck Colson was the founder of Prison Fellowship, and he himself actually went through the experience of incarceration. And so for folks who may not be familiar with Chuck, he was President Nixon's right-hand man and got caught up in the Watergate scandal and ended up serving about 8 months in prison. And when he was released, one of the things that he said is that he didn't want to forget the men who were still in prison. So when he came home, he actually founded Prison Fellowship more than 40 years ago, and continued to raise his voice for criminal justice reform, but even more importantly, looking to serve men and women who are in prison. So we are still here 44 years later, continuing on in Chuck's name, and just continuing the great work that he established.
Honoring his name, I bet you he would be proud of what's happening, so that is great. And he's done a lot of things, of course, in politics, so he got the attention and the ear of a lot of people. I was listening to an interview where he said that he believes that Christianity should be a part of all of life, because with the principles of Christianity, basically it deals with helping to change the heart. So, people, because it's one thing to have a modification behavior, but it's another thing to have a new heart, to have a new way of life. And that's what Jesus offers through the gospel. And I just think that's awesome. That's what Prison Fellowship does, and that's the message they bring, the message of hope and faith and love. And so if you want to get into the fight, because I do think it's a fight for freedom. I do think it's a fight for freedom for the inside out, and laying your burden down before God, who can deliver that freedom. Yeah, so if you want to get in the fight, contact Sammy. There's a lot of different ways to get connected. You can go in the prisons. You can help be an influence with lawmakers, with your neighborhood, with just people around you, just with your story, with what you've seen God do in other people's lives. And wonderful thing. Thank you for winging this. This is awesome. Yeah, we're here. We might as well make it happen. Yeah. All right.